City's main animal shelters.
That is, if voters decide it's worth the money. KCTV5's Amy Anderson explores the argument new at 10.
The KC Pet Project takes in some 10,000 animals each year. Many of them are starved, abused, or neglected, but all of them need care. Next month, voters will have the option to approve a new $14 million facility. Some say it's too much money. Others, including the state, say it's long overdue.
She's so cute.
All it took for Kenzie Lockett was one look.
She just has the sweetest little eyes, and I was like, oh yes, she's mine, I'll take her.
New families are formed here every single day. KC Pet Project is contracted by the city of Kansas City to run what is now a no-kill shelter. A far cry from what it used to be, when up to 70% of the animals brought in were euthanized. But the facilities themselves are now a far cry from what they should be.
The shelter is really just frankly falling apart at this rate. We deal often with the older kennels that are in the building, the flooring, the drainage system. We have one washer and dryer that is in an open air garage that our staff work out of to prep all the food that's going out to the dogs and the cats here at the shelter.
The shelter, which was built in 1972 to house construction equipment for Arrowhead and Kauffman stadiums, was never intended to house animals. It was repurposed by the city, but has long since outworn its welcome. It sits next to a capped landfill where animals are not allowed. There are sinkholes everywhere. There's very little parking and no exterior lighting, and it's not ADA compliant. Anyone who can't make it up these stairs has a long trek from the back of the building. We took a tour of the shelter to the areas you don't see when you're there.
So this is our basement.
The areas where food, medical supplies, and bedding are stored with a ceiling that often leaks. The areas where the animals will stay until they find a new home. By anyone's take, not an ideal environment.
We struggle a lot with just these kennels themselves. They're old, they rust.
The clinics where life-saving procedures are performed every day are in an old construction trailer. There have been horrible drainage issues after waste that drained from old kennels had no place to go.
It was a hazard to our visitors that come here every day. It was a hazard to our staff as well as the animals.
The deterioration of the shelter has happened over 4 decades of use. In fact, the Missouri Department of Agriculture wrote the city in 2008, years before the KC Pet Project was on the scene, and said the building was out of date and a new shelter was overdue. That was 9 years ago.
The new facility would be at the corner of Gregory and Elmwood in Swope Park, right across the street from Lakeside Nature Center, down the street from the dog park and the zoo, so kind of where a lot of the animal-focused organizations are in Kansas City already, so it does make perfect sense to be there.
Next month, voters have the option of breathing new life into KC Pet Project. Not just 60,000 square feet of space for the animals and workers to do their jobs, but for an expanded veterinary clinic where they'll offer more on-site services to animals who need it and hope to offer lower-cost care to residents. They'll have education opportunities, a place they want Kansas City to call a destination and not just a shelter. And if it doesn't pass, a warning.
If this vote does not pass, the State Department could come and say that this facility can no longer be used, and then it would effectively be shut down, and there would be no place for the animals of Kansas City to go, and we would of course have a huge crisis on our hands. So this is so critically needed. It does have to pass by 57.1%, so we're really hoping that people do come out and vote for this.
To put things in perspective cost-wise, the city of Kansas City was in dire need of a new, more visitor-friendly tow lot. They got that new tow lot back in 2009 at a cost of $15 million. In Kansas City, Missouri, Amy Anderson, KCTV5 News.